January 1941, Bletchley Park, Buckinghamshire, England. A nondescript country mansion converted into the most secret facility in the British Commonwealth. The facility is so secret that it does not appear on any official map. The staff, approximately 4,000 people by 1943, are forbidden from discussing their work with anyone. Violating this prohibition can result in prosecution under the Official Secrets Act. The work performed here is so classified that it will not be revealed to the public until 1975. This is the Government Code and Ciphers School, the organization tasked with breaking the enemy's military communications. In a concrete bunker beneath the mansion, a machine occupies an entire room. The machine is called the bomb, derived from the Polish bomba, the original device designed by Polish cryptographers in the 1930s. This bomb is substantially larger than its Polish predecessor. The machine is approximately 2 meters tall, 3 meters long, 1 meter wide. The machine weighs approximately 1 metric ton. The machine consumes approximately 6 kilowatts of electrical power when operational, a significant amount during wartime rationing. The machine contains 316 electrical relays. The machine contains 108 rotating drums, each with 26 positions, corresponding to the 26 letters of the alphabet. The machine contains approximately 9 kilometers of electrical wiring. The sound produced by the machine when operational is described by operators as resembling a mechanical ululation. The noise is continuous and vaguely threatening. Alan Turing stands before the bomb at 7:45 in the morning on January 12, 1941. Turing is 29 years old. He appears younger than his years. His hair is unkempt. His clothing hangs loosely on his thin frame, suggesting that he rarely pays attention to matters of personal presentation. His eyes contain the characteristic intensity of a man whose mind operates at a level significantly higher than those around him. Turing is the chief mathematician at Bletchley Park. He designed this bomb. He understands its theoretical foundations better than any other person alive. He alone truly comprehends what this machine is about to accomplish. The German Enigma machine is a marvel of electromechanical engineering. It resembles a typewriter with additional rotors mounted above the keyboard. The machine has been in military use with the Kriegsmarine since 1926 and with the Wehrmacht since 1935. The German High Command is absolutely confident in the security of Enigma. German military doctrine explicitly states that Enigma communications are immune to decryption. The German security services conduct regular inspections to confirm that no Enigma machine has been captured by the Allies. The Germans believe their communications are impenetrable. The Germans are correct regarding the difficulty of decryption. An operator using an Enigma machine must first set the rotors to a specific configuration. The configuration is selected from a list of 365 different daily configurations, one for each day of the year. The number of possible rotor configurations is 158,976,000. But the rotors are only the beginning. The operator must also set the plug board, a panel with 26 pairs of sockets. Each pair of sockets can be connected to swap 2 letters. The number of possible plug board configurations is approximately 170 trillion. The total number of possible Enigma configurations is therefore 159 trillion. An Enigma message, encrypted with one configuration, cannot be decrypted with any other configuration. The Enigma machine is mathematically impenetrable if the configuration settings are not known. But mathematics is Alan Turing's native language. Turing realizes that while the number of possible configurations is vast, it is not infinite. Turing realizes that Enigma messages contain patterns. Turing realizes that if one can detect these patterns, one can reduce the search space from 159 trillion configurations to a manageable number. Turing designs the bomb to search through configurations at a rate of approximately 4,800 configurations per minute. At this rate, even a relatively rare word appearing in a message can allow the bomb to identify the correct configuration within a few hours. At 8:15 on January 12, 1941, an Enigma-encrypted German military message is loaded into the bomb. The message has been intercepted by British radio operators. The message is suspected to contain a German weather report. German weather reports often begin with the phrase Tageswetterbericht or similar standardized language. If this phrase appears in the message, it will repeat every 8 positions or less due to the Enigma rotor configuration. Turing instructs the operator to configure the bomb to search for this phrase. At 8:16, the bomb begins to operate. The drums begin to rotate. The relays begin to click. The machine produces a sound that has been described by observers as resembling a monstrous mechanical heartbeat. The frequency increases as the machine accelerates through its search. At 8:30, the machine produces a sharp mechanical sound and the drums cease rotating. The machine has found something. The operator checks the position of the drums. The configuration has been located. The operator reconfigures a test Enigma machine to match the configuration identified by the bomb. The operator types the encrypted message into the configured Enigma machine. The Enigma machine produces output. The output is in German. The output is comprehensible. The output is a German weather report dated January 12, 1941. The Enigma has been broken. Turing stands at the machine and reads the decrypted German weather report. He understands what has just occurred. He has just demonstrated that the Enigma machine, which the Germans believe is impenetrable, is in fact penetrable. He has just created a machine that can read German military communications. He has just handed to the British government the ability to know German military plans before the Germans have even executed them. Turing understands that he has just changed the course of the war. But Turing does not yet understand the terrible moral burden that this knowledge will impose upon him. Turing turns to the operator and says simply, "Schedule the next test." He walks out of the bunker without celebration, without acknowledgement of what has been accomplished. He has done what he was designed to do. He has broken the Enigma. But the real problem is only beginning. The real problem is what to do with this knowledge. February 1941. The bomb has successfully broken its first Enigma message. The news spreads through Bletchley Park like an electrical current. The impossible has been accomplished. The German military code has been penetrated. But the implications are only beginning to be understood. The next challenge is not technical. The next challenge is moral. Commander John Godfrey holds the position of Director of Naval Intelligence. Godfrey is a career naval officer, 48 years old, with the bearing of a man who has spent his entire life making decisions that affect thousands of lives. Godfrey receives a memorandum from Bletchley Park. The memorandum contains a decrypted German message intercepted on February 3, 1941. The message is from the commander of German submarine U-47. The message provides the precise coordinates of a British convoy designated HX-106. The convoy consists of 42 merchant vessels sailing from Halifax to Liverpool. The convoy is laden with food, munitions, raw materials, and manufactured goods essential to the British war effort. The convoy represents a significant portion of British merchant shipping capacity for that month. U-47 intends to attack the convoy at dawn on February 12th. The coordinates provided in the decrypted message indicate that the attack will occur approximately 100 kilometers southwest of Ireland. The commander of U-47, Captain Lieutenant Gunther Prien, is one of the most dangerous submarine commanders in the Kriegsmarine. Prien has sunk 23 merchant vessels in the North Atlantic. Prien has become a German national hero. Prien represents the face of the German submarine campaign that threatens to strangle British commerce. Godfrey reads the ultra-classified message. Ultra is the code name for any intelligence derived from the decryption of Enigma communications. The distribution of ultra-intelligence is limited to fewer than 200 people in the entire British military and government. Godfrey is one of fewer than 50 people who have comprehensive access to Ultra. Godfrey reads the intercept and immediately understands the implications. He can save the convoy. He can redirect it. He can provide additional escort vessels. He can arrange for anti-submarine warfare aircraft to be present at dawn. He has the information necessary to eliminate the threat. But Godfrey also understands that if he uses this information, the German Navy will eventually realize that their Enigma cipher has been compromised. Godfrey makes the decision to contact the Prime Minister. Godfrey calls Churchill's office. An aide informs Godfrey that Churchill is available. Godfrey arrives at 10 Downing Street at 1400 hours on February 3, 1941. Churchill is in his war room, surrounded by maps and status reports and military advisors. Churchill is 56 years old. Churchill has been Prime Minister for less than a year. Churchill has made thousands of decisions that affect millions of lives. Churchill prepares for another such decision. Godfrey presents the situation. Churchill listens without interruption. Churchill understands the tactical advantage presented by Ultra. Churchill also understands the strategic implications. Godfrey explains, "If we redirect the convoy, U-47 will not find it. The convoy will reach Liverpool safely. But when Prien reports to his base that the convoy has vanished, the German Navy will begin to suspect that their cipher has been compromised. If they suspect, they will change the cipher. If they change the cipher, we will be blind again." Churchill responds, "What is the probability that they will suspect compromise if one convoy is missed?" Godfrey responds, "Unknown, but it is possible. Submarines occasionally miss convoys due to positioning errors or sea conditions, but multiple missed convoys will eventually arouse suspicion." Churchill asks, "How many people know of Ultra?" Godfrey responds, "Fewer than 200. We have maintained absolute security." Churchill is silent for approximately 10 seconds. Then Churchill says, "How many souls aboard convoy HX-106? Godfrey has prepared this calculation. He responds, "Approximately 2,000 merchant sailors and approximately 1,000 soldiers assigned to defend the convoy." Churchill says, "How many would die if U-47 attacks?" Godfrey responds, "Estimates suggest that 1/3 to 1/2 of the merchant vessels would be sunk. Deaths would range from 1,000 to 1,500. Churchill says, "And if we lose Ultra, how many will die in subsequent months due to our inability to track German submarines?" Godfrey responds, "Unknown, but potentially many times that number. The German U-boat fleet is conducting a campaign designed to starve Britain into surrender. Without Ultra, we are blind to their movements." Churchill stands and walks to a wall map of the Atlantic. He places his finger on the location where convoy HX-106 will be attacked. He is silent for nearly 1 minute. Then he turns to Godfrey and says, "Allow the convoy to proceed unwarned. Maintain Ultra security. That is my order." Godfrey understands what this order means. 3,000 men will die so that Ultra can be preserved. 3,000 men will die so that in subsequent months the preservation of Ultra will allow the salvation of tens of thousands of other men. 3,000 men will die because Churchill has calculated that the mathematics of war demand this sacrifice. Godfrey leaves 10 Downing Street at 1500 hours. He returns to Naval Intelligence Headquarters. He does not issue any warning to convoy HX-106. He does not redirect the convoy. He does not arrange additional escort vessels. Convoy HX-106 continues on its course toward Liverpool, knowing nothing of the danger that awaits it. February 12, 1941, 1800 hours. Convoy HX-106 is 100 kilometers southwest of Ireland. The sea is cold. The weather is deteriorating. U-47 surfaces approximately 2 kilometers from the convoy. Prion has positioned his submarine perfectly. The merchant vessels have been arranged in a standard convoy formation, making targeting simple. Prion observes the convoy through his periscope and selects his first target. The target is the merchant vessel Terje Viken, a Norwegian tanker carrying fuel oil. Prion has no personal animosity toward the Terje Viken or toward her crew. Prion is simply executing his orders. Prion orders, "Fire Tube 1." A torpedo leaves the submarine at 2500 hours. The torpedo travels for approximately 2 minutes. The torpedo strikes the Terje Viken on the starboard side. The impact is catastrophic. The fuel oil catches fire. The tanker becomes a floating inferno. The crew is forced to abandon ship. In the cold Atlantic, most of the crew perishes within minutes. Approximately 90 men die. Prion remains in the area and fires additional torpedoes. Before daylight, 4 merchant vessels are sunk. 5 more are damaged. Approximately 400 men are killed in the first 2 hours of the attack. The escort vessels attempt to respond, but U-47 has already achieved tactical advantage. By the time anti-submarine warfare measures are deployed, Prion is departing the area. U-47 transmits a brief message to its base. Convoy attacked. 4 vessels sunk. 1 vessel damaged. Withdrawing. The message is encrypted with Enigma. The message will be decrypted by Bletchley Park. The message will be read by Alan Turing. The message will reach Godfrey and Churchill. The message will confirm that the attack occurred as predicted by ultra-intelligence. Turing reads the decrypted U-47 message in Bletchley Park. He understands what has occurred. He understands that the convoy HX-106 has been sunk as predicted. He understands that approximately 400 men have died. He understands that this death was preventable. He understands that Churchill and Godfrey have chosen to allow these men to die in order to preserve Ultra. Turing experiences a moment of profound moral clarity. He understands that he is no longer simply a mathematician. He is now a participant in decisions about who lives and who dies. He is now responsible for actions taken by others based on intelligence provided by his machine. The enigma may be broken, but the moral calculus of war has become far more complicated than any mathematical formula. Turing does not speak about this realization. He simply returns to work. He continues improving the bomb. He continues developing new methods for breaking Enigma. He does not protest the decision to allow convoy HX-106 to be attacked. He does not voice his moral objections. He simply accepts the reality that knowledge carries a terrible burden. Knowledge of the future creates moral responsibility for that future. Turing has solved the mathematical problem of breaking Enigma, but the moral problem of what to do with that knowledge will haunt him for the remainder of his life. November 1940. The war has been ongoing for 15 months. British cities have suffered from German bombing campaigns. But in November, an intercepted Enigma message provides a warning of unprecedented catastrophe. The message is decrypted at Bletchley Park. The message is distributed to Ultra recipients. The message contains the code word Mondschein Sonata, Moonlight Sonata. This is the code name for a German bombing operation, a massive air raid planned against a British city. But which city? The intercepted messages provide coordinates and targeting information. The analysis at Bletchley Park suggests the target is Coventry, a city in the Midlands with a population of 238,000, a city that manufactures aircraft engines and other military equipment, a city that represents a strategic target of significant military importance. Commander Godfrey receives the ultra-intelligence on November 11th. The intelligence indicates that the air raid will occur on November 14th. That gives the British government approximately 30 hours to respond. 30 hours to protect 238,000 people from destruction. 30 hours to make a decision that will determine whether those people live or die. Godfrey again carries the intelligence to Churchill. Churchill again faces the terrible mathematics of war. The options are limited. Option 1. Evacuate Coventry. This would save most of the civilian population, but would certainly alert the Germans that their enigma has been compromised. Evacuation of an entire city requires visible military movements, police presence, transportation of civilians. The Germans have intelligence agents. The Germans will observe this activity. The Germans will conclude that the British have advanced knowledge of the attack. Option 2. Strengthen air defenses in Coventry. Additional fighter aircraft could be stationed there. Anti-aircraft gun positions could be reinforced, but again, this level of activity would be visible and would potentially alert the Germans. Option 3. Do nothing. Allow the attack to proceed. Accept the casualties. Preserve Ultra. Option 4. Attempt to intercept the German bombers with existing fighter resources and accept that some will get through. Churchill convenes a meeting with military advisors. The meeting includes the Chief of Air Defense, military intelligence officers, and members of the cabinet. The discussion is heated and emotional. The Chief of Air Defense argues, "We must strengthen defenses. We can save lives without compromising Ultra. We have sufficient fighter resources." A military intelligence officer counters, "Any visible strengthening of defenses will signal Ultra compromise. The Germans will change their cipher. We will lose the advantage that Ultra has provided." Churchill sits quietly through the debate. Finally, Churchill speaks. Churchill says, "How many people live in Coventry?" An aide responds, 238,000 civilians approximately. Churchill says, "How many can we save if we evacuate?" The aide responds, "Estimates suggest 150 to 175,000 if evacuation begins immediately." Churchill asks, "How many will die in the raid if we do not evacuate?" The reply is uncertain. Estimates range from 500 to 2,000. But the uncertainty is moot. Churchill has already decided. Churchill says, "We will not evacuate. We will not provide visible reinforcement of defenses. We will allow the raid to proceed. Ultra will be preserved." Churchill pauses. Churchill adds, "Arrange for the best medical response possible. That is all we can do." November 14th, 1940, 1930 hours. The first German bombers arrive over Coventry. The weather is clear. The moon is bright. German navigators have been provided with an incredibly detailed briefing on Coventry's streets and landmarks. The Luftwaffe knows the city better than some of its residents. The bombing begins. The intensity is unprecedented. 474 German bombers drop 521 tons of ordnance on Coventry. High-explosive bombs, incendiary bombs. The bombs create firestorms. The firestorms consume entire city blocks. The medieval Cathedral of Coventry is destroyed. The city center is obliterated. The bombing continues for 11 hours. When it ends, in the early morning of November 15th, Coventry is devastated. The casualty count is compiled over subsequent days. 568 people are confirmed dead. 863 are injured. 50,000 are made homeless. The destruction is almost total in the city center. The devastation is visible from aircraft flying at high altitude. The destruction is absolute. But the enigma has been preserved. The Germans believe their bombing has been a complete tactical surprise. They do not suspect that their attack was predicted. They do not suspect that the British chose to allow Coventry to burn rather than compromise Ultra. Alan Turing reads the casualty report on November 15th. He reads, 568 confirmed dead. Turing understands what this number represents. 568 people who died because Churchill decided that Ultra was more valuable than their lives. 568 people who could have been warned. 568 people who could have been evacuated. 568 people who were sacrificed on the altar of military advantage. Turing experiences a moment of profound despair. He has created a machine that saves lives by providing military intelligence. But that same machine is being used to determine whose lives can be sacrificed. Turing's mathematics have become a tool of triage. Turing's machine decides which cities burn and which cities are spared. Turing's genius has become the instrument of calculation. If we save this city, we risk losing Ultra. If we sacrifice this city, we preserve Ultra for future use. In the weeks following the Coventry bombing, a darker theory emerges in German military circles. German intelligence begins to suspect that the British have evacuated Coventry. German officers note that the casualty toll, while significant, is lower than would be expected from such a bombing. German intelligence theorizes that perhaps British civilians knew the attack was coming. Perhaps some evacuation occurred. But the German High Command rejects these theories. The enigma cannot be broken. The German security services have tested the enigma repeatedly. The enigma is unbreakable. Therefore, the British could not have known. The German conclusions are wrong. But the mere fact that German intelligence considered the possibility demonstrates the danger. If the Germans had pursued this theory with more vigor, if they had investigated more thoroughly, they might have discovered the truth. Churchill understood this risk when he allowed Coventry to be destroyed. Turing does not voice his despair publicly. He does not protest the decision to sacrifice Coventry. He continues his work at Bletchley Park. He continues improving the bomb. He continues breaking enigma. But something has changed within him. He now understands that knowledge is not innocence. Knowledge carries responsibility. Knowledge of a future that cannot be prevented creates a burden that mathematics cannot quantify. Turing has solved the problem of breaking enigma, but the problem of living with the consequences of that knowledge is beyond his capacity to solve. 1942. The war is expanded into a global conflict. Britain stands alone against the Axis powers. The lifeline of Britain is the sea. Ships from America bring food, munitions, raw materials, manufactured goods. Ships from Canada bring grain and other essential resources. Without these convoys, Britain will starve. Without these convoys, Britain will lose the war. The German Navy understands this reality. The German Navy has deployed approximately 150 U-boats to the Atlantic. The U-boats are instructed to destroy convoy ships. The U-boats conduct what Admiral Karl Dönitz calls the tonnage war, a campaign designed to sink British merchant shipping faster than Britain can replace it. The mathematics of the tonnage war are brutal. If German submarines sink more than 500,000 tons of shipping per month, Britain cannot replace these losses. Britain will be strangled into surrender. Ultra-intelligence provides British naval forces with detailed information about U-boat locations, movements, and attack plans. Every U-boat message is intercepted. Every U-boat order is decrypted. Every U-boat position is plotted. British naval intelligence knows the Atlantic better than the U-boats know it. But knowing the ocean is not the same as controlling it. The decision about which convoys to protect and which convoys to sacrifice must still be made. And this decision is made with the same cold calculation that decided the fate of Coventry. Commander Godfrey establishes a system of triage. The logic is simple. If every convoy is protected, the Germans will eventually recognize that their U-boat movements are being anticipated. They will suspect Ultra compromise. They will change the Enigma cipher. Ultra will be lost. But if some convoys are sacrificed, the pattern will appear random to German commanders. Some convoys will be sunk. Some convoys will get through. The pattern will resemble what the Germans expect from random chance. The system operates as follows. For every 3 convoys threatened by U-boats, 1 convoy is protected. 2 convoys are left unprotected. The mathematics are recorded in 2 columns in Godfrey's office. The left column is labeled protected. The right column is labeled sacrificed. Each day, the columns grow longer. By the end of the first month of 1942, the numbers are protected, 8 convoys, approximately 1,200 ships. Sacrificed, approximately 17 convoys, approximately 2,400 ships. The ships in the sacrificed column carry approximately 100,000 tons of supplies. The ships in the sacrificed column are manned by approximately 35,000 merchant sailors. Of these sailors, approximately 7,000 will not survive the voyage. Approximately 7,000 men will die in the Atlantic during the first month of 1942, so that Ultra can be preserved. The calculation becomes more refined as time progresses. It is determined that approximately 1/3 of the ships in a sacrificed convoy will actually be sunk. The other 2/3 will escape or be rescued. The death toll is therefore lower than the maximum possible, but the death toll accumulates. By the end of June 1942, the total of sacrificed ships reaches approximately 175 convoys with approximately 15,000 ships. The total sailors killed reaches approximately 30,000. The supply tonnage lost exceeds approximately 2 million tons. 2 million tons of food, weapons, fuel, materials sunk in the Atlantic so that Ultra could be preserved. Turing receives a summary of these statistics at Bletchley Park. Turing understands the calculations. Turing understands the necessity of the system. Turing understands that without Ultra, the losses would be far greater. U-boat sinkings of British merchant shipping peak at approximately 620,000 tons in March 1942. Without Ultra intelligence, these losses would have been even worse. The losses could have approached the figure that Donitz predicted would break British commerce. Ultra intelligence has saved British shipping, but Ultra intelligence has also sacrificed British shipping. The mathematics are paradoxical. Ultra has both saved lives and taken lives simultaneously. Turing begins to experience psychological deterioration. He works without rest. He works 16 hours per day. He continues to improve the bombe. He continues to develop new methods of breaking Enigma. But his personal life collapses. He stops attending social functions. He stops maintaining his residence properly. He stops paying attention to matters of personal hygiene. His colleagues at Bletchley Park notice his deterioration. One colleague notes in a private letter, "Turing appears to be a ghost. He moves through the facility like a man who is not entirely present. He performs his work with mechanical precision, but something essential has departed from him." The contradiction that Turing faces is impossible to resolve through logic. Turing's machine has saved the lives of perhaps 200,000 people by preventing greater losses in the Atlantic. But Turing's machine has also sacrificed perhaps 30,000 people to preserve the ultra-secret. Turing must accept that knowledge is simultaneously salvific and damning. Turing must accept that his greatest achievement has required the greatest moral compromises. Turing must accept that he has become not a savior, but a participant in triage. He selects who lives and who dies. He makes this selection through mathematics. He makes this selection without emotional involvement. He makes this selection and then continues working as if nothing has changed. But everything has changed. By the end of 1942, the tide of the Atlantic War has turned. German U-boat losses are mounting. British convoy losses are decreasing. The tonnage war is being won by the Allies. The victory is attributed to many factors: improved convoy tactics, new anti-submarine weapons, increased production of escort vessels. But the fundamental factor is Ultra. Ultra has allowed British naval forces to position their vessels exactly where German submarines will appear. Ultra has allowed British forces to execute tactical ambushes. Ultra has allowed the sinking of approximately 47 U-boats in 1942. These U-boats represent approximately 11,000 German submariners killed or captured. The arithmetic is complete. Sacrificed British sailors, 30,000. Sacrificed British merchant ships, approximately 1,500. German submariners killed, approximately 11,000. German U-boats sunk, approximately 47. From a strategic perspective, the exchange is favorable to Britain. 30,000 British lives and 2 million tons of cargo have been exchanged for 11,000 German lives and a reversal of the U-boat threat. Churchill's calculation has been vindicated by mathematics. The sacrifice was necessary. The sacrifice has yielded victory. But Turing does not experience vindication. Turing experiences moral exhaustion. He knows that victory has been purchased with lives that could have been saved. He knows that Ultra has won the war by sacrificing the innocent. He knows that he personally bears responsibility for these sacrifices. Not moral responsibility. The decisions were made by Churchill and Godfrey. But intellectual responsibility. His machine made these calculations possible. His mathematics enabled the triage. His genius has become the instrument of a terrible calculation. 1943. The war has entered a new phase. Ultra-intelligence continues to flow from Bletchley Park. The Enigma cipher continues to be broken. The volume of ultra-intelligence has become almost overwhelming. Thousands of decrypted German military messages are produced every day. The military advantages provided by Ultra have become comprehensive. Ultra-intelligence guides almost every significant British military operation. In North Africa, British forces under Montgomery defeat German forces under Rommel at El Alamein. Rommel's tactical plans are known in advance because Ultra has decrypted Rommel's orders. Rommel's supply lines are disrupted because Ultra has identified the routes. Rommel's positions are targeted because Ultra has provided exact coordinates. The victory at El Alamein is attributed to British tactical brilliance. In fact, the victory is attributed to Alan Turing's machine. In the Battle of the Atlantic, German U-boat losses continue to mount. Approximately 47 U-boats are sunk in 1942. In 1943, U-boat losses accelerate. Ultra-intelligence allows British escort vessels to position themselves exactly where U-boats will appear. U-boat commanders report that they are being attacked with uncanny accuracy. They report that their positions are known before they know them themselves. German naval intelligence begins to suspect that perhaps the Enigma has been compromised. But the German High Command rejects these suspicions. The Enigma cannot be broken. Therefore, the suspicions are irrational. Therefore, the losses must be attributed to other factors: better Allied technology, superior Allied tactics, chance. But not Enigma compromise. In the air war, ultra-intelligence guides the defense of Britain. German aircraft locations are known in advance. RAF fighters are positioned exactly where German bombers will appear. German bombers report that they are intercepted with impossible consistency. The Luftwaffe suffers unsustainable losses. The air superiority that Germany had achieved at the beginning of the war is gradually eroded. By 1943, the Allies have achieved air superiority over Northern Europe. The Allies have achieved this superiority through ultra-intelligence. In the Soviet Union, ultra-intelligence is shared with Soviet commanders. The Soviet Union has requested information about German military movements. Churchill agrees to share ultra-intelligence with the Soviets, despite the ideological differences between Britain and the Soviet Union. Soviet commanders receive detailed information about German troop dispositions, attack plans, supply lines. Soviet commanders use this information to defeat German operations on the Eastern Front. Soviet victories are attributed to Soviet tactical brilliance and German strategic overreach. But underlying these victories is ultra-intelligence. Turing receives a comprehensive briefing on Ultra's strategic impact. The briefing includes casualty figures, ship tonnage destroyed, battles won through Ultra-derived information. The briefing concludes with a summary. Ultra-intelligence has prevented German victory in the Atlantic. Ultra-intelligence has enabled British victory in North Africa. Ultra-intelligence has enabled Allied air superiority over Europe. Ultra-intelligence has enabled Soviet success on the Eastern Front. It is not an exaggeration to state that Ultra has won the war. Without Ultra, the Allies would have lost. Turing understands the mathematics of what has been accomplished. Ultra has prevented perhaps 2 million Allied casualties. Ultra has prevented the defeat of Britain. Ultra has shortened the war by an estimated 2 to 3 years. Ultra has saved perhaps 15 to 20 million lives. But to save these lives, Ultra has sacrificed approximately 50,000 lives. 50,000 sailors in the Atlantic. 56,000 civilians in Coventry and other bombed cities. 10,000 civilians and military personnel in other tactical decisions made possible by ultra-intelligence. The mathematics are stark. For every life saved by Ultra, approximately 350 lives have been saved. For every life sacrificed to preserve Ultra, approximately 350 lives have been spared further suffering. The equation balances. The arithmetic is favorable. The cost-benefit analysis demonstrates that Ultra has been worth the price. But Turing does not experience satisfaction. Turing understands the mathematics, but mathematics does not encompass morality. Mathematics cannot calculate the value of a human life. Mathematics cannot weigh the suffering of sacrifice against the relief of salvation. Mathematics cannot distinguish between lives saved and lives sacrificed. Mathematics can only count. 1,500,000 lives saved, 50,000 lives sacrificed. The difference is favorable to the war effort. But Turing is consumed by the knowledge that the 50,000 could have been saved had different decisions been made. Turing receives a private letter from a source at the Admiralty. The letter states, "Your machine has won the war. The U-boat threat has been eliminated. Convoy losses are now sustainable. Britain will not starve. You should be proud." Turing reads this letter and experiences a sensation that he has not felt before. The sensation is not pride. The sensation is horror. Turing has won the war. He has saved his nation. He has preserved democracy. He has prevented Nazi victory. But he has done so by becoming an architect of selective death. He has done so by calculating which lives to save and which lives to sacrifice. He has won the war by betraying the moral foundations upon which the war is being fought. Turing walks to the Enigma machine that has started it all. The bomb is outdated now. Improved versions have been constructed, faster versions have been built. But this is the original machine. This is the machine that broke the Enigma. This is the machine that made Ultra possible. This is the machine that has won the war. Turing places his hand on the cold metal of the machine. He feels the mechanical complexity beneath his fingers. He understands every aspect of this machine. He understands its power. He understands its limitations. He understands that the machine has no conscience. The machine has no moral awareness. The machine has only mathematics. The machine counts. The machine calculates. The machine determines that 50,000 lives is an acceptable price for the salvation of 30 million. And the machine is correct. By the standards of mathematics and war, the machine is correct. But by the standards of morality, the machine is monstrous. Turing removes his hand from the machine. He walks out of the bunker at Bletchley Park. He does not return for 3 days. When he returns, he has made a decision. He has decided to stop thinking about the moral implications of Ultra. He has decided to embrace the mathematics. He has decided that he is simply a tool of war, no different from the Enigma machine itself. He has decided that conscience is a luxury that he cannot afford. He has decided to continue his work with mechanical precision and emotional detachment. He has decided to become a machine himself. May 1945. Germany surrenders. The war in Europe ends. The war in the Pacific continues for several more months, but eventually ends in August 1945, with the Japanese surrender. The war is over. The Allies have won. Britain has been saved from Nazi conquest. Democracy has been preserved. Civilization has been protected from barbarism. The secret of Ultra remains classified. It will remain classified for 30 years. Ultra will not be revealed to the public until 1975. Turing cannot speak about his work. Turing cannot explain his role in the victory. Turing cannot share credit for the most significant technical achievement of the war. The secrecy extends even to the post-war period. Turing must remain silent about Ultra. Turing must carry the burden of knowledge alone. Turing attempts to return to civilian life. He takes a position at the National Physical Laboratory in London. He works on the design of the ACE, the Automatic Computing Engine. The ACE is one of the earliest general-purpose computers. Turing contributes to the design with the same mathematical brilliance that characterized his work at Bletchley Park. But his work is cursory. His heart is not in it. Turing is going through the motions of civilian employment, while internally, something essential has been destroyed. Turing develops an interest in artificial intelligence. He publishes a paper in 1950 titled Computing Machinery and Intelligence. In this paper, Turing proposes what becomes known as the Turing test, a method for determining whether a machine can exhibit intelligent behavior indistinguishable from a human. The paper is visionary. The paper establishes the theoretical foundations of artificial intelligence as a field of study. Turing has moved beyond cryptography. Turing has moved beyond the immediate concerns of war. Turing is attempting to engage with the fundamental questions of consciousness and intelligence, and what it means to be human. But Turing's personal life is falling apart. Turing suffers from depression. Turing experiences periods of profound despair. Turing struggles to find meaning in civilian life. The work at Bletchley Park, despite its moral complications, has provided purpose. The work at Bletchley Park has provided engagement with problems of overwhelming significance. Civilian life, in contrast, seems trivial. The problems of computer design seem insignificant when compared to the problems of breaking the enigma and winning the war. In 1952, Turing's life takes a dramatic turn. Turing has a sexual relationship with a man named Arnold Murray. At this time in Britain, homosexual activity is illegal. Homosexuality is regarded as a moral perversion and a security risk. Turing makes the fatal error of reporting a burglary at his residence to the police. During the police investigation, Turing's sexual relationship with Arnold Murray is discovered. Turing is questioned by authorities. Turing admits to the homosexual relationship. Turing is charged with gross indecency under Section 11 of the Criminal Law Amendment Act of 1885. Turing's trial becomes a public spectacle. The trial is reported in the newspapers. The trial generates scandal and outrage among the British public. Turing pleads guilty. Turing makes no attempt to deny the charges. Turing is sentenced to 12 months of probation, with the condition that he undergo hormone treatment designed to suppress his homosexuality. The hormone treatment is a form of chemical castration. Turing accepts this sentence. Turing undergoes the treatment. Turing's security clearance is revoked. Turing's access to classified information is terminated. Turing is effectively exiled from the intelligence community that gave his life meaning. The irony is profound. Turing has saved his nation. Turing has broken the enigma. Turing has won the war. Turing has made decisions about life and death that required the wisdom of a philosopher and the heart of a saint. Turing has sacrificed his conscience to preserve his nation. And then, after the war, the nation has punished Turing for a personal characteristic that bears no relation to his security, or his loyalty, or his brilliance. Turing has been destroyed by the society that he has saved. In 1954, on June 7th, Alan Turing is found dead in his residence in Manchester. He has died from cyanide poisoning. On a table near his body is an apple. The apple has been bitten. The apple contains a small amount of cyanide. The official cause of death is recorded as accidental. Perhaps Turing was conducting a chemistry experiment and the cyanide was accidentally ingested. But the circumstances are ambiguous. Was it suicide? Was it accident? Was it, as some have speculated, a deliberate choice to end the suffering caused by chemical castration? The truth remains unknowable. Turing dies at 41 years old. Turing dies while still in his intellectual prime. Turing dies before the computer age has truly begun. Turing dies before artificial intelligence has become a recognized field. Turing dies before his contributions to computer science have been fully appreciated. Turing dies before his contributions to breaking the enigma have been revealed to the public. Turing dies in obscurity. Turing dies in shame. Turing dies as a criminal in the eyes of his nation. 1975. The ultra-secret is declassified. The British government reveals that the enigma was broken. The British government reveals that Bletchley Park was the most important military facility in the war. The British government reveals that Alan Turing was the chief architect of enigma decryption. But Turing is dead. Turing has been dead for 21 years. Turing will never know that his work has been recognized. Turing will never know that he has been vindicated by history. In subsequent years, Turing's legacy is reassessed. Turing is recognized as the father of artificial intelligence. Turing is recognized as the founder of computer science. Turing is recognized as a moral philosopher. Turing is recognized as a victim of social persecution. In 1999, Time magazine names Turing one of the 100 most important people of the 20th century. In 2009, Prime Minister Gordon Brown issues an official apology for the persecution of Turing. In 2013, Queen Elizabeth II issues a formal royal pardon for Turing's conviction. But Turing remains dead. Turing remains dead to experience the vindication. Turing remains dead to experience the recognition. Today, 80 years after Turing broke the enigma, his legacy is profound. The Turing test remains the standard for evaluating artificial intelligence. The concept of the Turing machine remains foundational to computer science. Turing's theoretical contributions have shaped the development of computers and artificial intelligence and mathematics. But what is often forgotten is that Turing's greatest achievement was not theoretical. Turing's greatest achievement was moral. Turing achieved the moral feat of fighting for his nation while simultaneously compromising his moral principles. Turing achieved the feat of saving millions of lives while simultaneously sacrificing thousands of lives. Turing achieved the feat of being both a hero and a participant in moral catastrophe. Turing was the supreme mathematician of the 20th century, but the equation that Turing could never solve was the equation of his own life. Knowledge minus conscience equals what? Victory at what cost? Success obtained through what sacrifice? Turing could break the enigma, but Turing could never break the code of morality that his own knowledge had created. This is the true story of Alan Turing. Not a story of triumph, but a story of tragedy. A story of a man who won the war and lost his soul in the process. A story of the curse of knowledge. A story of the price of genius. A story of the man who could read the future but could not change it.